Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be talking about a very bizarre and disturbing case that's going on right now, playing out right now, and that is the disappearance of the UK tech mogul Mike Lynch. He's known as the British Bill Gates, and the highly suspicious death of his business partner, Stephen Chamberlain, a mere 36 hours earlier. And the connections in this case to the intelligence community, the United States legal system, is very, very interesting. In fact, that's kind of why I wanted to cover it and what I want to touch on today. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Oh, actually, before we do that, I should say I learned to tie a tie for you guys. That's right. I am wearing a tie because you know what? We're professionals here. Yes, we're not silly at all. We are very serious and we do very serious work. So we actually do, though. We do cover very serious topics. So let's go ahead and get into the story. This is from Odette on X. Recently acquitted billionaire and his legal team. So they were celebrating this big legal victory against Hewlett Packard. So you could also maybe say the United States intelligence community and the United States Department of Justice, who had extradited him to face charges of what amounts to fraud. So he and his legal team have disappeared off the coast of Sicily. He was out on his yacht celebrating with his family. His 18-year-old daughter is there. Separately, it emerged on Monday that Stephen Chamberlain, Lynch's co-defendant in the U.S. fraud case, had died after being hit by a car in Cambridgeshire. So here we have the Financial Times, Mike Lynch among missing after yacht sinks off of Sicily. So here, this is the Financial Times article, and I will include the links in the video description for you guys. Oh, also, something I want to do. This is very important, and I'm trying to remember to let you guys know about this more, to plug our alt tech platforms. We love our alt tech platforms, folks, as you guys know. We're big supporters of Nice Crew TV, NCTV, you'll hear me call it. You can find my channel there, nicecrew.tv. You'll just see Radix Verum. You just search for Radix Verum, you'll find my channel. Please go subscribe to my channel there, make an account there so you can comment on my videos there and support me there, because guys, I'm not going to be on YouTube forever. In fact, I think my days are numbered, and I do support Rumble as well. I'm on Rumble, but my preferred platform is NCTV. With that out of the way, that plug's probably going to get this video completely demonetized and buried, but it is what it is. In any case, let's continue on. Mike Lynch among missing after yacht sinks off the coast of Sicily. UK tech entrepreneur unaccounted for after boat trip celebrating recent legal victory was hit by a storm. Yeah, very coincidental stuff happening here, guys. Nothing suspicious or similar to Boeing at all. Mike Lynch, one of the UK's best-known tech entrepreneurs, is among those missing after a luxury yacht sank off the coast of Sicily in bad weather. Lynch, the former chief executive of Autonomy, was acquitted of criminal charges by a jury in San Francisco in June, vindicating the 59-year-old entrepreneur after a 12-year legal battle over the software group's $11 billion sale to Hewlett Packard in 2011. And there's arguments to be made of whether it was really worth what it was valued at. HP accused them of basically puffing up the numbers, you know, and really they were accusing them of being a fake company. And Lynch maintained that, you know, they were innocent of the charges and that this is like how things work. They knew what they were getting into. And of course, it seems that IBM certainly was aware of the acquisition and was confused as to why HP was willing to spend so much there. And so among the passengers on the yacht, it's the Bayesian, I think is how you pronounce that. I apologize if I get that wrong, were members of his legal team and their family who'd been invited on the trip to celebrate the courtroom victory. Jonathan Bloomer, chair of insurance group Hiscox and Morgan Stanley International, who appeared at the trial as a witness for the defense. So he was sort of like I think he was considered their star witness, or a star witness, was also on board, and he's one of the people missing. So what is weird about this, right? Like, if this was just the weather and just a freak accident, it seems like the people who are missing, because they've already found the guy's wife, they're still looking for Mr. Lynch and his daughter, and this gentleman here, it seems like, I don't know, the people who maybe have upset the powers that be that most are the ones missing. Okay, so here we've got para-power mapping, at Clonopin on X. Co-defendants in a multi-billion-dollar fraud trial don't just get hit by cars and vanish in a yachting wreck off the Sicilian coast a mere 36 hours apart. That doesn't just happen. Exactly. Yes, this is not some kind of coincidence. And then down here, he adds, especially when one of them is a billionaire. Reminder, these coincidentally ran over and shipwrecked gentlemen sold their firm, that is the Autonomy company, to a company in the top 25 of Department of Defense, DoD contractors, that also provides myriad services to a certain apartheid entity in the Levant. Fascinating stuff, right? So that is something to keep in mind, that this technology, the company, was something that was used in the intelligence community. Now, going to the Standard, UK tech star Mike Lynch claims HP targeted him because he is wealthy. Former Autonomy chief Mike Lynch kicked off his defense against HP's $5 billion legal case Wednesday, claiming it was motivated by his wealthy status and deep pockets. The British software entrepreneur is being sued by the U.S. giant over claims he committed fraud by artificially inflating sales figures at Autonomy, so like cooking the books, before selling it to HP for $11 billion in 2011. HP had to take an $8.8 billion write-down on the company 1 year after the deal. Lynch's defense, QC Robert Miles, started his opening arguments today, claiming failed acquisition was HP's fault, in questioning the company's motivations. Quote, the claimant's choice of target appears to be motivated by the fact that Dr. Lynch is wealthy and has deep pockets for the purposes of this claim. The claimants need a high-profile target to blame for the losses that they suffered. The entire premise of the claim is far-fetched. There was no motive for Dr. Lynch to have masterminded the conspiracy that lies at the heart of HP's claim. Dr. Lynch was, at the time of the alleged misconduct, already wealthy and successful. Lynch's defense attorneys claim Autonomy was a remarkable success story, adding it is difficult to see why Dr. Lynch would turn to fraud at that stage in his career. Lynch is pursuing a counterclaim, so he was suing HP, saying the reputational damage cost him business deals worth $150 million. Okay, continuing on here. He claims HP managed Autonomy badly.
Well, we're pretty shocked. The first thing that we heard about them was when this press release came out, so we've been a bit ambushed today. But we flatly reject this. There's no truth in this, and we hope that when people actually show us what they're saying, we'll be able to point that out. Surprised in that actually HP's lost most of the senior management. I don't think there's any senior management from our time still there.
So why do you think they are making these accusations?
I think HP paid a very large amount of money for Autonomy, and then it's a company that's very troubled by a lot of internecine warfare, and it's managed the company very badly. It lost around half of the staff before I left, the whole of the management team, and the value of that company has now fallen, and they've been forced to write it off. And I think this is a way of distracting from that management problem. And also, today is the day they're announcing the worst results in the 70-year history of the business.
So they need a distraction.
And I think there's a little bit of distraction going on here.
Okay, so I have this from Parapower Mapping. By the way, shout out to Klonipin Gosh and Parapower Mapping podcasts. He does great work. He does excellent podcasts. I encourage you guys to go sign up for, so you can listen to his podcasts. They're like on Spotify. You can find them there. Just put in Parapower Mapping, and he's got some really good stuff up on there. So shout out to him. Co-defendants in a multi-billion-dollar fraud trial don't just get hit by cars and vanish in a yachting wreck off the Sicilian coast a mere 36 hours apart. That doesn't just happen. So here we have the news here. Tech billionaire Mike Lynch is missing after $18 million yacht sank off the Italian coast. And from The Guardian, Mike Lynch's co-defendant in the United States fraud trial fatally struck by car while jogging. Stephen Chamberlain was the VP of Finance for Autonomy, the firm co-founded by British tech tycoon missing in Sicily. And maybe they needed to blame him for their poor mismanagement, for overpaying for a company. Listen, HP has they have the obligation to do their due diligence when it comes to acquiring new businesses. That's their job. They're supposed to research these things before they make those decisions. And if they did make these decisions and they ended up suffering losses, that's on them. It's sort of like buyer's remorse after they had a year of mismanaging a company that was in perfect standing when they obtained it. Now, I thought this was interesting. This is from BBC again, British tech tycoon. This is from August 1st, so just less than a month ago. He says, "I only got justice because I'm rich." This, to me, I think is the most damning and important part of this was the attitude that he had about being unfairly persecuted and his willingness to speak out against it. Mike Lynch, who this June was acquitted of a U.S. multi-billion-pound fraud, has said he believes he was only able to clear his name because of his huge wealth. He was facing 2 decades in jail and 17 different charges related to the sale of his company Autonomy to HP. He told the program that, though convinced of his innocence throughout, he was only able to prove it in a U.S. court because he was rich enough to pay the enormous legal fees involved. Quote, "You shouldn't need to have funds to protect yourself as a British citizen," he said. "The reason I'm sitting here, let's be honest, is not only because I was innocent, but because I had enough money not to be swept away by a process that is set up to sweep you away." So he was starting to speak out about the way that the legal system is set up and designed to basically bankrupt and destroy people or to force them into taking plea deals. Okay, so now we have from Michael East on X. It seems Mike Lynch, currently missing at sea off the coast of Sicily, was deeply involved with the security services. Lynch founded Autonomy in 1996. Their specialty was fingerprint recognition. This is covered in most of the press coverage as the company was at the center of his recent trial for fraud in the United States. However, what isn't covered so much is the company he founded next, Darktrace. This one is very, very important. Darktrace was founded in 2013 as a leading cyber AI company and was set up to prevent data loss and theft by quote-unquote insider threats. They were created as a response to Bradley Manning's leaks to WikiLeaks and founded just days after the first Snowden revelations were published by The Guardian. They were particularly concerned with stopping a WikiLeaks-style leaks of information. They were seed funded by Invoke Capital, a specialist tech investment fund headed by Mr. Lynch. Darktrace is the world's leading cyber AI company and the creator of autonomous response technology. Its self-learning AI is modeled on the human immune system and used by over 3,500 organizations to protect against threats to the cloud, email, IoT networks, and industrial systems. This includes insider threat, industrial espionage, IoT compromises, zero-day malware, data loss, across supply chain risk and long-term infrastructure vulnerabilities. Darktrace is known for extensively hiring former spies and was founded when Lynch brokered a meeting, listen to this, between GCHQ officers and Cambridge mathematicians. The company boasts it has former members of MI5, MI6, GCHQ, the CIA, NSA, and the FBI on its staff. So this guy was literally in the world of spooks and the international intelligence community. One of the co-founders was Stephen Huxter, a senior figure in MI5 cyber defense team who became Darktrace's managing director. Darktrace later appointed Dave Palmer, who had worked at MI5 and GCHQ, as its director of technology, while John Richardson, OBE, director of security, had a long career in UK government security and intelligence, working on cyber defense. Sir Jonathan Evans, former Director General of MI5, joined Darktrace's board in an advisory role in 2013. Former Foreign Secretary Amber Rudd did so in 2020. Interestingly, as a side note, one of the major investors in Darktrace is Vitruvian Partners. The vice president and cybersecurity advisor is Alexander Arbuthnot. His mother is Lady Emma, the Westminster Chief Magistrate who oversaw the extradition proceedings against Julian Assange. But such is Darktrace's profile that CEO Nicole Egan accompanied Prime Minister David Cameron on an official visit to Washington, D.C. to discuss cybersecurity policy with Obama. It's been quite a few months for Darktrace. In 2024, in April, it was announced it was to be bought by U.S. private equity firm Thoma Bravo in a deal worth $5.32 billion. In June, Lynch and his co-defendant Stephen Chamberlain were found not guilty at their fraud and conspiracy trial. Chamberlain worked with Lynch at Autonomy as VP of Finance and later became COO of Darktrace. They both left in 2018 when charges were filed. Chamberlain was killed after being hit by a car on Saturday on his morning jog. 48 hours later, Lynch's yacht was sunk off the coast of Sicily. Now, I find that to be disturbing. Okay, one other thing here, Mike Cosgrove says, the minute he gets a not guilty verdict and starts talking about U.S. control over the UK government and legal process, Mike Lynch suddenly goes missing. Now, that's one major coincidence. Indeed. So I want to go now to a clip of Mr. Lynch speaking out about the legal system and its corruption. I thought that you guys might find this interesting.
I know I had done nothing wrong, and it was very important to me. And this is, by the way, is a British thing. Nearly all of the British witnesses in the case were all threatened. And we don't fold in the same way as the Americans use, probably because we don't understand the consequences in the way an American would. But
so I thought that was interesting. He says right off the bat, yeah, all of our witnesses were threatened and intimidated. Like, this is exactly what we've seen with the Whitmer case. This is exactly how corrupt the legal system is. So he's saying, you know, Americans tend to fold because they kind of know the odds of what they're up against, which in many cases, especially for federal criminal cases, is like a 0.4% acquittal rate. So it's very small. In most cases, the government is successful.
I think one of the things that really surprised the prosecutors is how the usual method of threatening people and trying to get them to flip didn't work in this case.
So threatening people, trying to get them to flip, that's also what we saw in the Whitmer case, where they're threatening these guys with like literally life in prison with these crazy charges. And you had certain people like Ty Garbin, Caleb Franks, Sean Fix, Brian Higgins, etc., who were basically, they're essentially coerced into taking plea deals.
Were acquitted. I can only imagine that was an enormous relief.
Yes, it's very hard to describe the moment because in our case, we knew that the prosecution case had fallen apart. We knew we'd done a great job.
So he's talking about what it was like finding out that they were going to be acquitted, which again is very, very rare.
But you're reliant on 12 ordinary people until you hear the words.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't call it. And at that point, it's indescribable the way in which you jump between two universes.
We do need to ask whether you blame yourself for any.
Okay, so I kind of want to end it there. That's where we are right now. We still don't know the status of the search for Mr. Lynch, the other 6 missing individuals, which I know includes his daughter as well. So I will continue to keep you guys updated on the story, but I find it very interesting, this connection to the intelligence community. And I think there's probably a lot more here to the story than just 2 freak accidents happening with these 2 guys right after their acquittals, right after one of them starts speaking out publicly in a big way, in less than 48 hours apart. Come on, that's very, very suspicious. So I will continue to keep you guys posted on the story, and I'm interested to know, what do you guys think? All right, that's it for now, guys. Have a good day. Ree!